There's an old saying, when you don't know who the sucker is in the room, you're probably the sucker. And I think suckers in the room, in public accounting in particular, are still pulling up their realization reports and running their business off realization. And for anybody who understands that metric well enough, that is a totally made up metric. It is set by the bill rates that we set for our firm and for our staff. And it's really not a telling metric of how the firm is performing. And I've got a unique story about this because going back to my days, working with our offshore teams on big, maybe $1 billion manufacturing, as an audit senior who was really managing the job, looking to get their feet wet on managing and trying to get that manager promotion. I was really locked in at the time on this one particular job, on this one particular year, on increasing the realization of the job because we had reports that were being printed off to evaluate the staff, evaluate the success of each audit engagement that we were performing. And these reports showed up in our annual reviews when we were, being talked about for promotions. Long story short, I go through that audit busy season, I go through that job, and the realization is stellar. And I had the audit partner sit me down after the job was over. He first asked me why I did not use our India team like we did in the previous year. So the realization went up, but the utilization of our India team dropped. And I explained to him that I was able to get things done faster, quicker, with less realization impact than just farming things out to our India team. And again, I was only focused on realization. He pulled out a little spreadsheet to show me essentially how I created the realization going up, but the margin on the job actually dipped because I took high value staff, including myself, away from high value tasks in the job and away from team members in India who we could have utilized to get those tasks done, to really decrease my availability and capacity and decrease the margin of the job. So that really clicked for me. And luckily, I had another shot at that job in the following year to bring that knowledge that I had about how margin and realization works. And a long story short, that next year, the realization dipped about 15 points, but the margin went up. And I was actually able to touch more jobs on the US side and spend more time with clients while utilizing, that India team. So there's those three main, utilization, realization, margin. I think when you're managing the business, you need to understand what those high value margin activities are. And there's no question the utilization of offshore teams increases margin and increases opportunity for clients and staff all over the world. And that's what we need to be focused on as a profession, I think.